This week on Healthy Living, the U.S. Supreme Court has banned abortion. What does it mean for Africa? Dr. Abebe Shibru, Ethiopia Country Director for MSI Reproductive Choices, discusses the challenges of the U.S. abortion ban. And Ghana reports an outbreak of Marburg Virus Disease. Plus, researchers say babies' scent can manipulate parents' moods. These stories and more in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello, I'm Lina Khmoudou. Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. The U.S. Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and end the constitutional right to an abortion has raised concerns regarding women's health and reproductive rights. Groups that oppose abortion have welcomed the decision. International organizations and activists are concerned about the domino effect of the Supreme Court's ruling in developing countries, including in the African region, and say it will affect countries already struggling to provide care to women in remote areas. Each year, 47,000 women in the world die as a result of unsafe abortion, according to the International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics. And an estimated 5 million are hospitalized for the treatment of serious complications, such as bleeding or infection. Let's go to Kenya, where anti-abortion groups perceive the U.S. anti-abortion ruling as a milestone, while abortion rights supporters fear it could further restrict the reproductive health of girls and women. Juma Majanga reports from Nairobi, Kenya.
Anti-abortion groups in mainly Christian Kenya celebrated the U.S. Supreme Court's overturning of the right to abortion in June, calling it a divine intervention.
Abortion is murder, and the abortionists are also murderers. So when I see that the Supreme Court is choosing life, that is the way to go.
Kenya has upheld the right to abortion, but only for health reasons, leading many women to seek unsafe, illegal abortions on demand. After watching her friend bleed to death from one such abortion in Nairobi, 20-year-old Diana, not her real name, sought professional help when she wanted an abortion.
I went to a good clinic and the doctor took me through the process. Now I'm fine, as you can see. I'm all well. I'm healthy and I don't have any complications.
But like many abortion rights supporters in Africa, Diana worries the U.S. top courts overturning the abortion right could encourage more legal restrictions in Kenya and lead to more deaths. The World Health Organization says 75% of abortions in Africa are unsafe. Kenya's Ministry of Health estimates 2,600 women and girls die each year from complications related to unsafe abortions. That is 35% of all maternal deaths.
There is a high rate of maternal deaths resulting due to unsafe abortions because these women are denied the right to have the safe abortion services.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump restricted funding to developing countries' reproductive health as part of the so-called gag rule against abortion. Abortion rights campaigners say that was the first sign that more action will be needed to protect the right at home.
While the U.S. has been very generous in supporting our health systems, we must be more proactive ourselves and have the right laws, the right practices that favor access to reproductive health, including abortion care.
Kenya has gradually liberalized its abortion laws to allow, in 2019, termination for sexual violence. A judge ruled in March this year that abortion care is a constitutional right and even cited the U.S. Supreme Court Roe v. Wade decision that was then overturned in June. That ruling is being challenged, and Kenya's abortion rights advocates worry the U.S. change in law might affect the final decision.
Dr. Abebe Shibru is Country Director for MSI Reproductive Choices in Ethiopia, an international non-governmental organization aiming to deliver sexual and reproductive health care for all. He spoke with VOA's Eden Guerrero about some challenges and what can be done.
In Ethiopia context, unsafe abortion is one of the reasons, for maternal mortality. Now, if you want to avert this situation, we have to make sure that women have got, adequate information plus access to family planning services. The United States government gave us, other partner organization, the financial support. But now I'm considering these new rules endorsed by the Supreme Court might have its own impact. The United States government might take this as a precondition in order to provide, support, particularly for family planning and sexual reproductive health services. Before the gag rule, we were able to provide, services for more than 2 million women in different parts of the countries. At that time, we have been, one of the recipients of USAID funding. So that enabled us to provide choices, particularly in the remotest part of the country where 85% of the people are residing. After the gag rule, we were not eligible to get, USAID funding. So because of that, our capacity was limited, and we have reduced our reach by 40%. So we have been supported by the USAID government. We were able to provide services for millions of women in Ethiopia. So now, on top of this gag rule, this is a new endorsed article by the Supreme Court will exacerbate the problem that we are facing, particularly in reaching those people who have been deprived of their rights because of lack of resources. So it exacerbates, the problem that we're facing. So because of that, we're anticipating, the unsafe abortion will be continue and it will be rising, so that will be ending in with maternal mortality. So this is a problem that we're anticipating because of the new law, which is, endorsed by the Supreme Court. As grassroots, civic society in Ethiopia context, we are, recommending, just for a concerted effort, particularly under the advocacy agenda, because, this is, related with the human rights and women's rights, actually. So we have to fight such kind of, policy enactment, which is in the expense of women's life. So we are recommending, the international community, they have to listen to us, those organizations who are really fighting maternal mortality in different parts of the continent, in Africa, of course, in Ethiopia as well. So my recommendation is just to have, a global agenda. To make this a global agenda, we have to advocate for that. And the second one is we have to show, the impact. What will be the impact that we are expecting because of lack of support that we supposed to get, from different donors. And the third one is, just we have to continue our alliance with donors, with countries which already providing, support to organizations, like Marisops and other organizations who have been working in maternal and child health, particularly on sexual reproductive health and family planning services. So these are the main 3 recommendations which I would like to make, as one of the critical way forward.
Observers say some patients are having trouble accessing certain drugs because of the abortion bans. Methotrexate, a drug on the WHO's list of essential medicines, is prescribed for the treatment of various ailments, including rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and some cancers. But some states in the U.S. consider it an abortion-inducing drug because of its use in gynecology to treat ectopic pregnancies that happen outside the uterus. The Lupus Foundation of America and the American College of Rheumatology both have confirmed reports of the drug methotrexate being denied to women of childbearing age. We asked your opinion on abortion. Are you for or against? Here is some of what you have to say in Nigeria.
Why will you go and commit abortion? Why will you kill? Abortion is murder to me. So why killing? If you know you don't want the child, why going into such a thing for you to get pregnant at the first time?
But if you now talk of the area of maybe the pregnancy is putting the woman at risk, maybe that is on health ground, yes, that can be done. Her, as a person, I believe that God understand that.
A family that goes to sleep and they get robbed by armed robbers, and they not only rob, they rape their daughter. Now the daughter finds out that she's pregnant, her dream shattered, education to a halt. I think there are many reasons why she should opt for that option.
It's a no. I have two principles why I say it's a no-no. The act of sex, as it were, either by fornication or by marital blessing, is what may be prohibited. But the child pregnancy is a blessing by all standards.
It's going to encourage a lot of premarital sex. As adults, I think as an adult there are protective measures for this, for unwanted pregnancy. So I don't see any need for people to allow themselves to get pregnant, unwanted pregnancy. And at the end of the day, you want to abort it. It's not nice.
Women should have the entire and sole right to be able to choose for themselves what they want, either to abort or to keep the baby.
The World Health Organization has confirmed an outbreak of Marburg Virus Disease in Ghana. Samples from 2 unrelated patients were analyzed at the Institut Pasteur in Dakar, Senegal, and came back positive. The first case was a 26-year-old man who checked into a hospital on June 26 and passed away a day later, while the second was a 51-year-old male who checked in the same hospital on June 28 and died on the same day. The WHO says preparations for a possible outbreak response are being set up swiftly as further investigations are underway. Health officials have identified and are monitoring more than 90 contacts, including health workers and community members. This is the second time the zoonotic disease has been detected in West Africa, after Guinea confirmed a single case last year. Previous outbreaks and sporadic cases of Marburg in Africa have been reported in Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, South Africa, and Uganda. Marburg is a highly infectious viral hemorrhagic fever in the same family as the Ebola outbreak disease, and is spread to people by fruit bats and spread among people through direct contact with infected bodily fluids. The virus is often fatal, and symptoms include headache, fever, muscle pains, vomiting, blood, and bleeding. There are no current approved vaccines or treatments for Marburg viral disease. However, doctors say increased intake of fluid improves chances of survival. Why would the smell of a baby's head calm men but rile women? Researchers say it may be another example of how we are more animal than we like to think. Take a look.
A chemical signal coming off babies' heads calms men but riles women. That's what a study in the journal Science Advances found. Researchers say it may be a chemical defense system we inherited from our animal ancestors, making women more likely to defend their babies and men less likely to kill them. The chemical is called hexadecanol, or hex, and there's a lot of it coming off of babies' heads. Scientists tested people's reactions to it using a rigged game that's designed to aggravate them. When players won, they got to blast their opponent with a loud noise. The louder the noise, the higher the scientists rated the player's aggression level. The players didn't know it, but there was no opponent. They were playing against a computer all along. When men took a whiff of hex before they played, their blasts were quieter than blasts from men who did not. But women who smelled hex blasted louder than women who did not. In animals, the scientists said, female aggression is usually aimed at defending their young, while male aggression is often directed at the offspring themselves. So a chemical that revs up women and calms down men could help babies survive. Scientists have more tests to do before they're fully convinced, but there's growing evidence that smells affect us more than we might think, and that we're more animal than we'd like to admit.
That's our show for today. For more health news, wellness tips, and medical breakthroughs, stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Linoch Moudou. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.